Thank you for listening to the Aquarius podcast. I release a podcast every 2 weeks on the lunar transits to help you manifest your dream life. What's happening is that we're having a full moon in zodiac sign Sagittarius. The strawberry moon is going to be impacting Sagittarius rising, Gemini rising, Virgo rising, and Pisces rising the most. I also want you to pay attention to the planet. Cancer is currently sitting beautifully in Jupiter, and since Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, Cancer rising are also going to be having the biggest aha moments. This full moon is happening at the Scorpio degree, so Scorpio is also going to be coming into some interesting revelations for their own character development. Let's go over the daily placements for today. So we already know the sun is in Gemini, the moon is in Sagittarius. The sisters are sharing this energy. Mercury is in Cancer at the 5th degree. Venus is in Taurus at the 5th degree. Mars is in Leo. Jupiter is in Cancer at 0 degrees. Saturn is in Aries. Uranus is in Taurus at the 28th degree. Neptune is in Aries. We're continuing to have our North Node in Pisces. This time it's at the Capricorn degree, 22nd degree. Our Lilith is in Scorpio at the 8th degree, and our Chiron is in Aries. Fortune is also in Pisces. While Sagittarius is a very expensive and bold and happy-go-lucky and positive energy, I want you to know that some of these aspects happening with the moon add a little bit of constriction. So let's talk about the aspects associated with this moon. The sun is opposing the moon, so that naturally brings about some tension. Mars is trine the moon, so it's going to be a very emotional experience, really bringing us back to strong emotional connections that we have with our family of origins, with our bringing, with our legacy, with our future, with our ancestry, our lineage, our belief system, the faith that we grew up in. There's going to be a lot of kind of family systems conversation, wanting to feel safe in a chaotic world, and really seeking true inner stability and developing a peace within that, the outside world cannot affect. So many of us are kind of reflecting on our own emotional needs, our sense of belonging in the world, our sense of identity. We're really looking back at our history, what was given to us by our family, our parents, in terms of who we are, what we believe in, what our values are, what our ethics are, and where we are now. And we're kind of asking ourselves, do we need to update some of these belief systems so that we can feel a little bit more whole, a little bit more truthful, a little bit more honest about who we are? Another thing happening with this moon transit is that it's in opposition to Jupiter. So even though Jupiter is the planet of luck, the moon being in opposition to Jupiter suggests that there is kind of this desire to go deeper, within our sense of spirituality, our sense of connectivity to everything that is here on Earth. We're looking to get pulled into much more emotional security and depth as a desire to really grow within. We're seeking comfort by exploring our spirit on this earthly realm. So what does it mean to be me? What does it mean to be a human being living in my body? What are experiences that I'm here to go on so that I can discover more about who I am? What are some travel ideas or some belief systems that I want to explore? What are some philosophies that I want to nurture? Am I finding balance between, my home, my current home, and my desires for the future? This energy is bringing a lot of wisdom to the table as we're kind of being pushed to go deeper, to explore our connection with others and how our feelings allow us to, feel a part of a collective. Because as we know, we are a human race, and everything that we feel is not unique to us, as all of us are energetic fields with vibrations. So we're becoming more aware of how our moods affect our perception of reality and our sense of hope and optimism. This moon is also square Saturn. As you know, Saturn is a planet of karma, so there is some tension there with Saturn as well, because it's bringing kind of this need for emotional security. We want to feel that we're protected. We want to feel safe. We're having struggles trusting our environment, trusting the people in our environment. We want emotional intimacy, but we're also feeling emotionally guarded, which can make all of us feel a little bit more lonely. Even though deep down we're feeling soft, we feel we have to wear an armor to protect ourselves from all of the energies that are in the air right now. And so essentially, we're being called back to self-compassion and to developing connections with people that make us feel safe, and to honor that, to honor the devotion of our friends, our partners, and our family members, and to not shy away from emotional depth in our quest for, emotional security and safety. This moon is also square Neptune, which is a planet of dreams. Neptune is also the planet of illusion, so this aspect can make emotional boundaries feel a little bit challenging. These are people that are generally going to be very emotionally alert, sensitive, and responsive, but oftentimes they yearn for a type of deep spiritual connection that most people are not going to be ready to explore with them. When a person has this kind of transit in their chart, there's a little bit of idealism around how deep love goes, and it's not rooted in reality. So what we're experiencing right now with this transit is a little bit of confusion as we're being faced with our unrealistic expectations, our poor boundaries, our fantasies. They're coming down and crashing down. This kind of inner knowing and spiritual inner knowing that all of us have can get muted whenever, Neptune is present. Even though Pisces is the most energetically receptive and intuitive zodiac sign when it comes to understanding the undercurrent of life, the influences of Neptune make it very hard for Pisces to stay realistic. So it's important during this time to be grounded in practices that really assist us with feeling self-aware, with feeling present in our lives. Even though these emotional currents are happening in the world, we need to recognize that we have the ability to transform our emotional well-being by giving ourselves empathy, giving ourselves creativity to express ourselves, and giving ourselves the courage to really face our fears. This moon is also square our North Node, and this aspect brings tension between our emotional needs and what our soul is calling us to do. And this is where the Sagittarian energy can be very helpful, because all of this fire energy that we're currently having is kind of forcing the issue. So we have a fire sign at the moon, Sagittarius. We have a fire sign at Mars, which is what we normally use to manifest, Leo. We have a fire sign at Saturn, Aries, and a fire sign at Neptune. So at times, whenever we are faced with tension between what our soul is calling us to do and what the physical realm is showing us in terms of our limitations, we have to be willing to take a chance. Okay? And this is what Sagittarius is all about. It's about facing that dissatisfaction or the irritability of that constraint, or the irritability of feeling stuck, feeling like life is not moving forward, facing that with the courage by making a decision to embrace the friction by picking the choice that we truly want. Sometimes when you're faced with two bad decisions, you get to actually pick the decision that feels good to you, because there is no losing. Either way, it's tough. The pain of staying the same is hard to deal with. And the pain of trying something new and the fears associated with that is also hard to deal with. There's a potential here for us to step into this kind of masculine energy and embrace emotional resilience and self-nurturing and trusting in our abilities and our process to be able to figure things out as we go, to be able to know instinctively what the right thing to do is whenever we're in certain situations. It looks like there's much more tension here than there is ease in terms of energy. The only positive aspect with this transit is the moon trine Mars, and moon trine Mars basically gives us more confidence. It gives us more emotional awareness, emotional expression. It gives us a warm, loving, and active heart that's willing to experience everything that's happening and to put the right words to it and to sit with it. It also gives us leadership qualities in terms of initiating what do we do once we identify what we're feeling? How do we collaborate with others? And how do we make space for everybody to feel their feelings? There is a certain assertiveness here that's balanced with emotional sensitivity, which is very Cancerian energy. Cancers in general are very good at making everyone feel at home while also accomplishing their targets. So it's about balance. It's about striving towards our goal, while also not undermining that everybody's going through a tough time. Everybody's trying to figure out what's good for them. Everybody's looking for their grounding because the rug is being pulled from underneath us. And we have to go within to be able to find that love for ourselves, that compassion for ourselves. And once we find it, we extend it to everybody else. But the good news is because Mars is there, we have to take action. We have to be bold. We have to be brave. We can't sweep these feelings under the rug. We have to own them and transmute them. Now that we've gone over the positive and negative aspects associated with this moon, let's talk about the significance of this degree. So it's happening at the Scorpio degree. As you know, Scorpio is the ruler of the underworld. Essentially, some things have to die. That's what all this tension is about. It's like we were living in one reality, and now there's this new truth that's on the table, and we cannot deny the reality of this new truth. So now we have to let the old die so we can give room for the new to blossom. What Sagittarius knows that the other zodiac signs may struggle with is that life is a lifelong journey of learning. This is why Sagittarius is always interested in learning new things, whether it's via travel, via their own sort of development, via universities. It's very important to Sagittarius that they be educated on lots of different topics. As you know, Scorpio comes before Sagittarius, and Scorpio gives us the ability to basically rip off what doesn't work anymore, to cut it off, to let it go, to drown it. And with this full moon in Sagittarius, it's going to be to burn it. We're being asked to separate ourselves from inefficiency. That's essentially it. If you figured out that this belief system no longer works for you, separate yourself from it. If you figured out that this place where you're living is no longer working for you, separate yourself from it. If you figured out that the job that you're working at is no longer working for you, separate yourself. If you figured out that the community, the partner, whatever it is, let it go and get on the pursuit of your new community. Sagittarius is the explorer of the zodiac because they never stop growing, learning, and reaching. So the significance of this degree is to let us know that there is some grief associated with this full moon. As you know, a full moon is a time to release. It exposes truths so we can let go of untruths. And it's in harmonizing our energy with that, pure vibration of love and truth that we're able to manifest our dream life. How are the 12 zodiac signs going to be impacted during this transit? Of course, for Sagittarius being at the first, it's going to be their ego. If you're Sagittarius rising, I need you to invest some time into examining yourself, the kind of life that you're living, the kind of life that you want. What is a discrepancy? Do you look how you want to look? If not, what can you do about it? I generally encourage folks when your zodiac sign is in the first house to do something with your looks, whether it's changing your hair or going somewhere to get it professionally done or going to go get a manicure, doing something that allows you to reclaim your body so that you can get out of your head and get back into loving yourself, caring for yourself, and taking ownership over your body. If you are Capricorn rising, this falls for you in the 12th house, which is the house of karma or the house of death or end of life. You're actually being called, Capricorn, to examine the relationship between spirituality and religion. For many Capricorn rising people, they're very rule bound and everything is about the rules, and religion is all about the rules. And the difference between religion and spirituality is that spirituality is about making a conscious decision about the rules. So while there is a desire here to follow the rules and do things according to the rules, if the rules are no longer working for you and your current reality, then you're not living in harmony with truth. Because if your body is saying that the rules don't agree with you, then truth is for you to recognize that and incorporate your truth into the rules. So you're going to be experiencing a huge spiritual death where you have to really figure out what it is that you believe and how are you living, and whether there is some lies there that need to be removed so you can feel more authentically you. Aquarius rising for you, this falls in the 11th house, which is the house of community, keeping with the themes of Saturn, which is the ruler of Capricorn and co-ruler of Aquarius. You're being asked to really examine the community that you're a part of. Does that community honor your belief system? Does that community speak to your ethics, your values, your truths? And if not, then it's time for you to find a new community. And in order to find a new community, you have to be vocal about the issues that are important to you so that that vibration, is put out there and the people who vibrate with that are drawn towards you. So for you, it's really about separating yourself from people within your current community who do not kind of match your ethical, spiritual, and emotional views on the world. Pisces rising for you, this falls in the 10th house, which is your public image. Pisces is exalted at Venus because in its pure state, Pisces is about love. How much self-love have you been giving yourself, Pisces rising? And do you notice a connection between the love that you have or haven't been giving yourself and the relationship with your career? For you, this falls in the 10th house, which is the house of public image. Often we kind of simplify that as your career, but it's not just that. It's really how others see you, how others perceive you, the place that other people give you in the community. Okay? So Pisces, when they don't love themselves, they spread that lack of love to others. So you're being called back to self-love, because the more you love yourself, the more success you're going to have with your career, and the more positively other people will perceive you as well. Aries rising, you're being asked to examine, your relationship with wisdom. Gemini, being the sister sign of Sagittarius, is all about knowledge, and Sagittarius is about wisdom. Wisdom is the application of knowledge. It's not enough to know something. We have to put it into practice. That's what makes us wise. We have to be able to anticipate, okay, I could do this, but if I do that, this is what may happen from it. So as a result, I'm not going to do it because I can already read the tea leaves and know this is not going to be good. So Aries rising, you're being called back to exercise more maturity. Now that Saturn is in Aries, you're being held to a very high standard with how you use your energy, whether you're using it to nurture, to build, to bring life, or you're using it to destroy. And the more you use your energy for unproductive things, the more unproductive things will manifest in your life. So I don't know if this means, going back to school. I don't know if this means getting back into a spiritual practice. I don't know if this means traveling more to take some stress off of your back. I don't know if this means like joining a new gym to have a place to work out some of the angst that you must be feeling right now that Saturn is in Aries. But you need to do something differently so you have a little bit better control of yourself. Taurus rising, for you, this falls in the 8th house, which is normally Scorpio's house. It's about your relationship with intimacy, with sex, with money, with resources that other people entrust, with other people's ability to trust you, to depend on you, to count on you. How are you honoring the trust that other people have bestowed upon you? How are you honoring your ability to manage the resources that you share with your partner? How are you dealing with intimacy in your relationship? Are you using the fear that's going on in the air right now as a way to get closer to them, or are you using that as a way to pull away? You're being asked to really examine how really facing your emotional vulnerability can make your relationship feel a lot more rich. Gemini rising, for you, this is in partnership, so it's going to affect your relationship, your marriage, your business partnership. As you know, partnership is about equality, it's about reciprocity, it's about treating others how you want to be treated, and making sure you're being treated the way you are treating others. And if there's some imbalance in those relationships, it's going to be exposed over the next 2 weeks, and you'll have an opportunity to actually address it head on and go in a new direction. Cancer rising, for you, this is falling into your house of health and daily routines and wellness. It's time for you to take control of your day-to-day in terms of what focus you're bringing to your health. How are you taking care of your body? Are you neglecting your body? Does your body function the way you want it to? Are there certain foods you should be avoiding for your health? How are you doing with that? So it's a lot about creating a routine or a schedule that honors the optimal functioning of your body. Because the more you take care of your physical body, the easier it is for you to feel emotionally safe, okay? Leo rising, for you, you're being called back to joy, to fun, to hobbies, to feeling like a child. I know it's a dark time right now, and unfortunately, we cannot control everything, but what we can control is picking up a new hobby. What we can control is meeting new people. What we can control is doing fun and silly things. We could take a theater class. We could do all sorts of fun new things that we haven't done before to bring back joy, even in the darkest hour. Leo, your energy is expensive. It's large. It can fill up a room all by itself. Do not allow what's happening out there to rob you of your inner joy. So it's about you really taking responsibility for your inner joy and pursuing it. Virgo rising, you're being called back to family issues, your family of origin, how that guides your relationship with your legacy. What are you learning from your family history that you can apply to make your life more fruitful, to make it feel more full, and to make it feel more whole? You're going to be getting some news over the next couple of weeks, Virgo rising, about your family. And, it's going to help you put some things in perspective. Libra rising, for you, this falls in your house of communication, which is also the house of community and the house of learning. And I don't mean community in terms of like Aquarius community, as we are the world and we're one community. I mean, in terms of how you use communication to connect with other people. You're being asked to do things differently in that regard if you're wanting to sustain healthy relationships so you can continue to grow as a person. Language isn't just about being heard. It's not just about making sounds. It's about sharing information for the betterment of each other's lives. So if we're connecting with people via communication, the purpose of that is to enrich their world while we're also enriching ours. But when we use language in a way that does not serve that purpose, then the level of intelligence in our interactions goes way, way down because nobody's learning anything and we're essentially just wasting time. Sagittarius is a zodiac sign that rolls over higher learning. So a lot of what Sagittarius does is very purposeful and is generally for the expansion of their mind, their worldview, and their physical limitations. So you're being asked to seek communication, connections with people that actually help you expand your worldview. Scorpio rising, for you, this falls in the second house. The second house rules our self-esteem. So it's really about your self-worth. It's about the gifts that are inherent to you that were given to you at birth. It's about understanding your value as a person, understanding your access to resources, and knowing how you're utilizing your resources based on how you feel about yourself. The second house, even though it is the house of money, the house of resources and valuables, it also connects for us, the fact that how we feel about ourselves is often more relevant than what access we have to money. Meaning, a person could be a multimillionaire, but if they have a poor relationship with themselves in terms of their self-worth and their self-esteem, they will always feel like they're destitute, even though on paper they aren't. And the same goes for a person who is destitute, financially. If this person has high self-esteem and high self-confidence, they will always feel like they're on top of the world. So our resources are directly connected to how we feel about ourselves because abundance is love, okay? And when we love ourselves, we feel abundant. And when we feel abundant, the universe gives us more abundance. It manifests more abundance for us to reflect how we feel inside. So abundance really is an inner job, and it's about self-love. The more we increase our self-esteem, our self-worth, our positive regard for ourselves, or self-acceptance, the easier it is for us to manifest anything in the physical realm because we inherently know that we deserve. I've attached a diagram to this podcast so you can take a look at your different houses and other aspects of the houses that I did not get to touch on in my description. The best way to manifest the full moon is to do a burning ritual because we're having a full moon in Sagittarius and our Mars is also in a fire sign, our Mars is currently in Leo. A burning ritual is the best way to eliminate behaviors, thought processes, emotional reactions that we have that are not conducive to us living our best lives. The full moon in Sagittarius is about reflecting on the past 6 months and how we've been doing the past 6 months and what we need to change so that the next 6 months are better. It's urging us to consider the future. You see, Gemini, the sister of Sagittarius, is concerned with the tangible world. Gemini is in the physical realm. They're concerned with things that are near them, things that are nearby, that they can touch, they can see, they can hear. This is why Gemini is very chatty, because they want to stay present in what's happening right now. Sagittarius has separated themselves further from the physical realm, and they're now living in the spiritual realm. So we're looking past what's happening right now, and we're contemplating what's happening on the horizons. So we might be overwhelmed with ideas that come to us, but the Sagittarius full moon is helping us to focus on our future, to choose our attention, to choose our long-term goals, to believe in our higher principles rather than getting lost in the chaos and the drama of the moment. A burning ritual is a way to eliminate patterns of behaviors that we've exhibited in the last 6 months that do not lend to us reaching our goals. Do not get lost in the chaos of the moment. Embrace the possibility of a beautiful, bright future. Commit yourself to eliminating everything that does not align with that. And it starts with our relationship with our own spirituality, our relationship with the universe. Do we believe in the afterlife? Do we not? Do we believe that this life that we're living now is the training ground for what happens in the afterlife? Do we not? What is the spiritual meaning of this experience that we're having right now? What is the meaning of life? What are we here to do? What is the purpose of your life? These are the questions that we're asked to investigate. And once we discover a belief that we have that doesn't align with our new answer, it's time for us to let it go, okay? And embrace the new, because we're all here to grow, to learn, to expand. And when we're willing to trust the universe by checking what doesn't work and embracing the new, we get blessed with much more than we ever imagined. That is why Sagittarius is the luckiest zodiac sign, is because they trust the wisdom within, they trust their instincts, and more importantly, they trust their mission, the purpose of their life, and their relationship with the spirit realm. Thank you for listening to the Aquarius podcast. Head over to our YouTube channels and subscribe. You can join our private manifestation group on Patreon at Intuitive Healing with an N, and you can also purchase a confidential astrology reading at intuitivehealing.com. Thanks for listening.